Title: In Your Dreams. Written by Descending Dreams. You wipe the sweat from your forehead with the back of your hand as you flit about the kitchen, taking care to ensure all of the ingredients Anna had ordered were in the correct places. Though you've been friends for years, Anna had recently hired you as an extra set of hands due to being short-staffed after her father's disappearance. She took great pride in striving to live up to her grandfather's legacy that had allowed Kimi Nami Restaurant to thrive, and she insisted that her grandfather said having an orderly kitchen meant better food. You lean your head back, taking deep inhales of air trying to cool yourself down from Inazuma's sweltering summer weather. You feel sticky, sweat refusing to evaporate off your skin due to the air already being filled with moisture from humidity. You glance at the words marked on your left arm out of the corner of your eye and sigh, jokingly wondering if your soulmate's first word might sweat right off of you in this heat. Anna, who has been working beside you, interrupts your thoughts. You okay? She questions, turning around from her chopping and you move to face her. Seems like neither of you are having the best of times in this weather, since both of your foreheads are glistening with sweat. Please make sure you are getting enough water. Today feels like I just can't drink enough with how hot it is. You nod in agreement. I feel like I've already drunk a whole pond's worth, but I've yet to feel the need to relieve myself. Yeah, because we're basically sweating it out. She laughs, fatigue evident in her voice. I'll finish then and then I'm gonna take a 5 to 10 minute break. Is that okay? Sure, that's fine with me. You affirm, as long as I don't have to do any cooking since I can compare to yours. She smiles bashfully, waving away your compliment. You know I still have a long way to go until I reach my grandpa's level, but thanks. Now, back to cutting these. Anna turns around and continues slicing her way through a heap of fruit and vegetables, while you get back to moving things around the kitchen. She'd gotten a fairly big delivery of ingredients this time, and you're about halfway through sorting them. By the time your friend decides to take her break, you're about 75% complete. Thankfully, the lunch rush was already over, so it wasn't likely that Anna would have her break interrupted by a hungry customer. You wave her off to have her break as you continue your task. But only about 5 minutes later, do you hear footsteps approaching the counter while your back is turned. I'll be right there in a moment. Just let me put this down. You speak out before the person has a chance to say anything, carefully putting away the bag of flour you held into its correct place. You dust your hands off your apron and turn to greet them. Sorry about that. Is there anything I can help you with? The person turns out to be a green eyed, maroon haired young man who looks to be around your height, with one mole under each eye and a pretty stupefied expression. He stares blankly at you for a moment or two, mouth open slightly, until the confused expression that takes over your face seems to snap him out of it. He grins. Well, looks like today just went from boring to intriguing. Oh, Archons, you'd recognize those words anywhere. Guess it doesn't matter if they sweat off your arms anymore. Shikanoin Heizou, Tenryo Commission's sharpest detective at your service. It's a pleasure to meet you, my soulmate. Now, it's your turn to stand in stunned silence. This guy is your soulmate, and you had to meet now, of all times. You were covered in sweat, while he looks right as rain. You close your eyes and sigh quietly, displeased with how fate chose to arrange your first encounter. Why the long face, soulmate? Are you dissatisfied with who fate decided to pair you with? Oh crap, he'd heard you sigh even though you tried to do it as silently as possible. And R can't help you. You think his presence is making your heart beat faster. Surprisingly, despite the question he just asked, he retains a neutral expression. No, no, sorry. Just the timing. That's all. You responded last. Would have preferred my complexion to not look like a shiny ripe melon, to be honest. You wipe off your forehead with an unused towel and toss it with the dirty ones used for dishes. Suddenly, you realize something. Wait, how are you not sweaty when it's practically boiling out? If your soulmate has some sort of hack of dealing with this weather, you are all ears. Well, aren't you perceptive? He chuckles and puts his hand on his hips. My vision makes pretty quick work of cooling off in the summer. The young man turns around enough to allow you to see the turquoise ornament hanging from his belt. Lucky bastard. What I wouldn't do for that. Or a cryovision right now. He grumbled.
I am this close to jumping into the river just to cool off. That would definitely be effective. Heizou points at you for a moment as if to acknowledge your idea. But such a great idea must be attributed to someone. No? He looks at you inquisitively, waiting for your response. Oh, right. Your name. You tell him that and jokingly says it's who he can credit. The tone he repeats it in is so syrupy sweet it makes you dig your fingernails into the palms of your hand trying to stay composed. A captivating name for a captivating person, wouldn't you say? He looks at you dead in the eye as he says that. Is he flirting with you? You think he might be. You were flustered by the unexpected compliment. Oh, come on, say something already. I guess so. Thanks. You were unsure if that was a suitable response, avoiding direct eye contact with him due to your nerves. Unfortunately, you were aware that your soulmate reads people like books, and he finds your bashfulness endearing. My pleasure, soulmate. He closes his eyes as he grins happily. Your hesitant reply seems to not have broken his stride at all. You hear footsteps approach from behind you, and Anna's voice speak out. Is everything okay out here? Oh, it's you, Hazel. Anna recognizes him quickly. You are here early today. Anna takes the burden of trying to make conversation with him off your shoulder, which you are grateful for. Everything okay over at the police station? Yeah, but nothing noteworthy as of late, though. Unfortunately. He shrugs and shakes his head. I actually came by to ask if you'd seen a certain person or two, but he looks back over at you with a knowing, amused smile. You might want to ask your friend there about any more recent developments. He crosses his fingers together and rests his chin upon them as he smugly leans on the counter. Of course, Anna raises a brow and looks at you for an explanation. You try to find the best words. He's, um, we're we're soulmates. You point between you and Hazel. Found out 3 minutes ago. Anna's eyes widen momentarily before she gives you a self-satisfied grin. Oh, I see. She puts her hand on her hips. And yet you were so sure a few weeks ago that you'd end up forever alone. You were scandalized by how your friend so mercilessly exposed you like that in front of Hazel. Your mouth drops open and you scowl at her, momentarily forgetting your audience of one. You were so mean. I told you that in confidence. Your friend laughs, amused by your reaction, but she does apologize. Alright, sorry. I was just teasing. I'm happy for you. Really. She puts a supportive hand on your shoulder, and she looks back at Hazel. You'd better play nice with them, detective. If I happen to hear that you broke their heart, I'd have no choice but to take it out on your food. The young man laughs, bright and clear. Oh, I wouldn't even dream of it. You can count on me, chef. He winks charmingly at your friend, and you feel butterflies start to flutter in your belly. You can't help but ask since you've never seen him before. So, do you guys know each other or something? Anna replies first. Detective Hazel is here at least once a week. I'd say we're right near Sango Place too, where he used to work. And old habits die hard, especially when the food's good. He finishes with a smile. But I think I just found another reason to keep coming here. Hazel glances over to you again, and the look he gives you makes your heart tremble. Take the Archons you have to counter to lean on for support. Unfortunately, Anna then decides she'll do you a favor.
You know what? Why don't you take the rest of the day off? Oh, Archons, no. I can take things from here, and I'm sure you two would enjoy some time to get to know each other better. That is, if Detective Hazel here isn't already busy. You had never thought Anna could beat this sly up until today. She noticed how flustered Hazel was making you and is now basically setting you up with him against your will. You were too busy staring wide eyed at your friend to notice Hazel holding back a laugh from your expression. No, not at all. I'd love to have your company. The detective gives you a grade that you can decipher as genuine or coy. What do you say, soulmate? You close your eyes and take a deep breath. Screw it. You suppose you are just going to have to quickly get used to Hazel's wittiness and incredibly smooth voice. Sure, sounds fine to me. You untie the apron from around your waist. Thanks, Anna. You're welcome. She chirps, clearly pleased with herself. You narrow your eyes at her for but a fraction of a moment before putting away your apron and gathering any supply you brought with you to work. She watches you the whole time, grinning smugly. All right. I'll see you tomorrow, I guess, Anna. You say as you're about to exit the booth, but harshly whisper, I'll get you back for this, in her ear before you actually leave. She chuckles to herself before saying her own goodbye. You cautiously walk up to Hazel, scrutinizing him intently. Surprisingly, he says nothing while under your silent gaze. So you speak up. Is there anywhere you'd like to go or something? You ask, unsure of what he wants. You said you wanted to cool down a bit, right? He brings his hand up to his chin, pondering. Then, why don't we head to the beach? Fine with me as long as we're not swimming. You shrug. Not too keen on the idea of walking home completely drenched. I could dry you with my vision if you want. What the fuck? Absolutely not. You shoot his idea down almost instantly, imagining the scenario. What if we ended up blowing away your clothes, only leaving you in your underwear? That would be totally embarrassing. Oh, come on. No need to be shy. It would just be the two of us. That has nothing to do with it. You grouchily think to yourself. And besides, I think it'd be a fun way to cool off. Then you swim, and I'll watch while dipping my feet in. You were not intent on letting him see you vulnerable, or at least not yet anyway. I don't feel comfortable swimming with my clothes on in front of someone I just met. He raises his eyebrows and smirks, opening his mouth to say something when he seems to rethink it at the last second. Bringing up skinny dipping would be going a little too far too fast. I suppose that's a fair point. Maybe next time then. Huh. You were sure he was about to tease you again, but you guess he changed his mind. Hazel seems to be somewhat considerate despite his playful nature, which you appreciate. Uh, sure, you shrug. You wanna get going? You and Detective Hazel head northwest to the shore, just outside of Inazuma City. Passing through Hanamizaka on your way, the conversation remains light, making idle chatter as you stroll. When you arrive, the sun feels warm under your feet and a pleasant breeze glides over your damp skin, making you sigh contentedly. Feeling better? Hazel asks, even though he already knows the answer. He can't help but admire the way your skin glows in the sun, even if he knows it's from sweat. He deduces it must be the angle of the sunlight that gives you such a glow. Mm-hmm. Much. You nod, charting over the water's edge with your shoe in the sand, letting your toes be run over the gentle waves. Your companion is quick to join you, removing his sandals and taking a place next to you in the shallow water. There's no crab here, right? You are careful to tread lightly along the shore, not wanting to get pinched by an angry crustacean. You don't remember them being present at this beach in the past, but it can't hurt to ask. As far as I recall, there shouldn't be any. The red-headed young man walks thoughtfully beside you, enjoying the feeling of the crisp water against his skin. Unless someone happened to dump a whole box of them here or something. Which of course then I'd have to investigate. You chuckle a little, imagining that scenario. I guess someone would have to look into it, we reply nonchalantly. Your nerves from earlier still have yet to fully calm down, but you try your best to appear relaxed. There's a few moments of silence between the two of you until your companion calls a gentle warning. Hold on. I think there's a shell right there. Hazel lightly puts his hand on your shoulder to stop you, and as he bends down to pick it up, he ever so slowly glides it down and across your back, involuntarily making you shiver. His hand stopped a gentlemanly distance above your rear before backing off. It felt like tiny lightning bolts were sent across your skin from his touch, and it nearly took your breath away. Hazel smirks to himself when he feels you tremble under his fingers as he bends down to pick up the shell. You are just too cute for him to not tease. For you, he stands back up and presents the shell, which looks to be from a scallop, to commemorate today. Yeah? Yeah. You pluck the shell from his grasp and admire it for a moment before putting it in your pocket. Thanks. That was thoughtful of you. Ah, it was nothing, really. He smiles, and this time you know it's earnest from the slight pink dusting his cheeks. No, come on. There's a lot more beach to walk. You and Hazel trod silently along the beach once more, being careful not to step near any more shells. To be honest, you were kind of surprised by how courteous he was. Because what little you had heard about him implied that he was quite slippery and shrewd. You did get a little bit of that vibe from him, but it was outweighed by how laid back he seems. If you had to live in Inazuma City, or Chinju Forest for the rest of your life, which would you choose? You question him out of nowhere.
You hope that this question might enlighten you more as to what kind of person he is. He looks back up at you from the sand he was focused on just moments ago. Oh, that's a hard one for me to choose. Hazel's face gives no indication of how relieved he is that you finally spoke up. It wasn't hard for him to tell that you were more of the introverted type, but while he didn't want to pressure you to talk, he was also getting antsy. There's just so many questions he wants to ask. He takes a few moments to think of an answer before responding. My head says Inazuma City because that's where all the detective work is, he sighs. But my heart says Jinju Forest. It's so peaceful and tranquil. Unfortunately, though, that usually means there's no cases to solve. A shame, really. You are pretty dedicated to your job. You speak your thoughts out loud. That's admirable. You can't say the same for yourself. You'd say you were still finding your way in the world. Of course, someday the mere mention of my name will strike fear in the hearts of anyone with malicious intent across the entirety of Tevat. You almost stopped walking in awe of his lofty goal. You were starting to wonder how you were supposed to help Hazel reach his fullest potential as his soulmate when you've never even dared to dream as big as he has. You don't even know what you want from life. Wow, that's. You search for words. That's a really honorable goal. You realize you'd practically just said the same thing about his job and you remains. Ugh, way to make conversation, dumbass. You furrow your brow in confusion when Hazel starts laughing out of nowhere. You stop walking to turn and look at him, and he's so tickled that he's doubling over. Hey now, he croons as he stands up straight again. I know you are trying, and I appreciate it. There's no need for name calling. Oh, fucking gods. You'd said that last thing out loud. You low-key hope one of the next waves coming in swallows you whole. I'm so fucking sorry. You massage your temples in frustration. I swear I didn't mean to say that out loud. Oh, I know. Hazel replies with no hesitation at all. But really, there's no need to be so nervous around me. I don't bite. He's finally got his foot in the door of your internal wall, and he'll keep gently prying until you let him in. You don't know how to respond. How am I supposed to know that? I just told you, didn't I? You sigh exasperatedly. You know that isn't what I meant, Hazel. His ears perked up at the sound of his name coming out of your mouth. He'd certainly like to hear more of that. Hmm. Well, I guess I'll be honest. I like you. So I want you to trust me, you know? He shrugs and put his hand out like he'd said the most casual thing in the world. Oh, we just met. You have no better defense. So, I have a great intuition, and it's rarely, if ever, wrong. He crosses his arms, self assured. And since we're soulmates, I'd imagine that your own intuition is also pretty sharp? No? He rethinks a moment. But I suppose it's possible that fate would set me up with someone whose intuition isn't as strong as mine, so I'd have to focus on other skills. He'd pin you as a former because you quickly noticed he wasn't sweaty when you first met. Hazel brings a hand to his chin as he begins to ponder, but you stop him before he gets too deep in the thought. No, you were right the first time, you hesitantly admit. I've been told I pick up on patterns quickly and tend to overanalyze the meaning behind other people's words or actions. Your companion perks right back up. See? It takes one to know one. He's pleased to know that you two really do have that in common. But now I simply have to know, what did your intuition said about me when we first met? He brings a hand to his chin, waiting for your response. You really don't want to answer that question. Because even though you didn't know you were soulmates when you first laid your eyes on him, you'd immediately know he was your type when he smiled at you. Despite your introvertedness, a mischievous smile has never failed to put you in hook, line, and sinker, much to the dismay of your rational mind. You begin walking along the sandy shore once more, and your companion does so as well, and he's walking closer to you than he had before. It said you were highly keen and perceptive, but laid back at the same time. You answer, only giving him your secondary impression and not the primary one you'd assessed. You are not telling me the whole story, are you? There's that mischievous smile of his again. He'd seen right through you. I don't think you'd lie, but you're definitely withholding information. I'm. You probably should just be honest with him. I am, but I'm
I'm not comfortable telling you the full details. I know we're soulmates, but we really only just met, so you'll only tell him your full impression if you two end up in a relationship. Otherwise, it'd just be so awkward. Fair enough. I won't pry. But of course, in Hazel's head, the list of the possible first impressions you'd want to keep private from him is quite short. He's hoping it's the most favorable one of the bunch. But since we're both intuitive, can I rely on you if I ever need a second opinion on something? Wow. He must already trust you quite a bit if he's asking for that, since the only thing you'd imagine he'd want it on is a criminal case. Of course, but are you really sure? He has the audacity to laugh at your question. If I didn't think your insight was valuable, I wouldn't have asked. You've already provided to have a sharp eye for details, not unlike myself. He seems amused by his own self praise. We weren't bound together by fate for no reason. We're supposed to help each other grow. So, of course, I want your input in something. I guess that makes sense. You give him a non committal answer. The setting sun starts to cast golden rays upon the two of you, signaling the end of the day. You can't decide if you want to go home or if you want to walk to Hazel for a little while longer. You really like talking with him. Back to one sentence answers again, I see. Hazel teases, hoping he can elicit at least one or two more reactions from you. It, unfortunately, works. I. Did he have to call you out like that? I'm sorry. I'm still a little. You stop yourself right before you say nervous. Hizu had shown such a certainty in abilities that you weren't too confident in yourself. You can't help but feel a little bit shy. It wasn't often you had someone with such a nice sounding voice compliment you so openly. Your mind changes tracks and you ask him a question out of the blue. Sorry if this is a bit weird to ask, but would you happen to be a criminal turned detective who changed their ways? For the first time today, you managed to surprise him with something you've said beside the first words you spoke to him. Whoa, now. Where'd that come from? Hazel asked, tacking your name at the end. I've been nothing but good and honest for my whole life, I'll have you know. He crosses his arms and playfully wags a finger at you. My record is spotless, unlike those whose crimes I investigate. Honestly, you were a little surprised, but also not. The only reason you asked him that in the first place was because you were 100% sure he'd be an incredible, successful scam artist with his voice and intelligence. You know, you'd probably do anything he asked if he said that in that. No, 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 no. Get your mind out of the gutter. You just met him today. I didn't mean to imply that I thought you were a criminal, I swear. You quickly explain yourself. I just. I was thinking that Tenryu Commission is very fortunate you are on their side. So basically, you'd think that I'd make a good criminal. He raises an eyebrow. That is what you were saying, no? He saw right through you again. Well, yeah, you admit in defeat. But honestly, skills like yours are highly applicable to both detective work and illegal affairs. You probably already knew that, though. Hazel sighs. Unfortunately, I do, but that doesn't mean I like to acknowledge it. I'm happy being on the side that catches the wrongdoers so they can't hurt anyone else. He gazes into the water's reflective surface, nudging some rocks around with his foot. Hazel looks back at you again with a grin. If that answer was satisfactory enough, I'd be happy to hear any other intrusive questions. He doesn't miss the guilty look that immediately comes over your face, and he lets out a cackle or two. Come on, relax. He simpers in a sing-song tone. I genuinely don't mind, honestly, especially if it means that I get to ask you a question. He closes his eyes and grins at you, hands on his hips. He's waiting for you to confirm that he can. I guess, if you really want to. He shrugged. You hope it won't be too personal. If you found out that everything I told you was a lie, how would you react? That stops you right in your tracks. It wasn't, just to be clear. I'm sure you would have figured it out anyways. He put his hands up in reassurance. Just entertain me, if you will. His face displays not an easygoing smile, but a sober, neutral expression. That tells you all you need to know as to why he asked what he did in the first place. You nod to let Hazel know you understand, and you take a few moments to think before replying. I'd probably be a little angry and upset, but also worried and questioning. I'd want to know why you felt the need to lie. Did you deceive me for some nefarious purpose? Or to hide an ugly truth? You purse your lips, deep in thought. I've always been very interested in understanding the why of things, even if there's a simple answer available. Some people think it's annoying, though. You cast your gaze down and away from him, recalling your caregiver's exhaustion with your constant question when you were younger. You'd worry about me? I'm honored. The detective's heart feels warm knowing you care enough to worry about him even though you'd only just met a day. He smiles to himself momentarily as he thinks about it. He hopes he'll be able to protect you well enough so such an amazing trait doesn't get taken advantage of. He'd be loath to see that. But on a second note, you should ignore those people. He definitely could use some more colorful language to express his dislike. But he held his tongue. I think it's a good thing. You'd make an excellent detective, soulmate. Heizou winks and points at you. Let me know if you want a change of careers, yeah? I'd love to have you as a coworker. He's already thinking about what strings he need to pull to have you as an assistant. You interpret his word as high praise, and you can't help but feel a little sheepish. I think I'm happy with where I am right now, but thank you. It means a lot to hear you say that. You shy away from Hazel's gaze momentarily and scratch your neck. Your companion's fingers twitch as he resists the urge to pinch your cheeks. You are welcome, my dear soulmate, he replies, tone denoting his usual light playfulness. The sun is barely visible over the horizon now, telling you of the day's end. The pinks, purples, and reds of the sunset reflect so beautifully off the water. It feels like you're watching a moving painting. I should probably get home soon, you remark offhandedly. There's stuff I need to do before I can finally hop onto bed. It has been a long day, Hazel agrees. There's something important I need to do as well. But you might be asleep by then. He crosses his arms and closes his eyes, tilting his head down as if he's contemplating something. You furrow your brow, looking at him inquisitively. What would you need to do so late? He looks back up at you and shoots you a downright devilishly handsome grin. I need to make sure you'll dream about me. You make a beeline for Anna the next morning when you see her starting to sit up. You traitor! She whips her head around in shock, but starts laughing when she sees it's you. She doesn't even flinch when you grab her by her shirt to make sure she answers for her crimes. How could you do that to me yesterday? I thought we were friends. You were supposed to be on my side. She's still laughing, and you see tears starting to form in her eyes from how hard she's doing it. You, you practically threw me to the wolves. Now I don't know if I can ever trust you again. Anna takes a moment to calm herself down again, but she's still chuckling a little. You say wolves, I'd say Prince Charming. Your face heats up at her insinuation, and she smirks. I knew it. You already have a crush on him, don't you? She elbows you teasingly and you pout. From what I know and what you've told me, people hardly think he's the princely type. You reply quietly, crossing your arms. But he was nice to me, so. So you were saying he's your prince? You throw an unused towel at Anna instead of responding.